Well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Farmington Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. Item number 1 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please ask everybody to stand. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for that. Moving on to item number 2 is to discuss a proposed change to increase the number of Franklin County Commissioners from 3 to 5 and to offer a letter of support. Nancy was able to dig this out today on our BOS meeting of 3/9/21. Scott Landry had brought up LD 21. It was an act to increase the number of Franklin County Commissioners and other business, and we voted on it. It was a 4-0 vote. Josh, you weren't here that night. So we have, the letter has been written, it's been sent off, and so that's something we don't have to deal with tonight. So we're going to make that really easy.
So it's done.
So it's done. So, moving on to item number 3 is to hold a public hearing and vote on amendments to the M.M.A. Model General Assistance Ordinance, Appendices A through H. And with that, we'll open the public meeting. If you guys can see the changes, I don't know what the old numbers were, but the overall maximums, the food maximums, rental, the only changes for this year. Like I said, I kind of wish Leanne was here so she could tell us what the changes were. But any questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Questions, comments? Something we do every year.
What is our budget, general assistance budget typically? It's not that high anyway, is it?
I believe it's 25,000
25.
is what we're usually right in that area. I don't know if this year we're up or down, but it's usually pretty standard. So, they got to be pretty much in need to get past Leanne. So she's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
And we get reimbursed
we do.
the state on that,
Yep.
70%, right?
Something like that.
Like 70 or
yeah.
75.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve amended changes to the general assistance ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion and a second to approve the updates on the general assistance ordinances, Appendices A through H. Any more questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous vote. Thank you. That was too easy. Item number 4 is to approve the minutes of October 12th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 12th, 2021. Any other questions? All in favor? Unanimous. Move on to item number 5, and other business. We have a couple other business here. The first one I'm going to take is Mark Pierce from Paper Talks.
That is me.
Real quick.
Yeah,
Can I jump in? Do you have a form that we should sign on the ordinance?
I actually do. I have it.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
We can sign it after if you want.
Okay, hey, that's, yeah, I'll probably,
All right.
yeah.
I just saw it. That's
Yeah, no, good. Thanks for
All right,
that.
yep.
So, go ahead, sir.
The floor is mine.
The floor is yours.
You might be here for a while, folks. Usually when I get going, no, I'm just kidding. Mark Pierce, Paper Talks Magazine. For the past 23 years of our 43-year existence, we've had a strong relationship with the town of Farmington. The town has financially supported us with a patron ad in the magazine, of which in kind we have supplied magazines to the town for folks that want to obtain it here at the town office. I think everybody is probably familiar with what we do, and I know exactly how we do it. We take a great deal of pride in every magazine that we put out, and this is our 43rd annual publication, and I will rest on my laurels and ask you to support us again this year for, I think it's a $2 increase from last year. And other than that, if anybody has any questions, please, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Josh?
Do you know what that amount would be?
418, I believe.
It's
411 is
411.
done by the 21st. Yep.
411?
Going down then.
So it'll be a price increase after the 21st?
Yeah, it'll be,
No.
we get a discount, it's $444 standard. When you pay it early, it's $411.
All right.
I, for one, think we get really good coverage for this. I think there's a lot of bang for our dollar here, so. But, is there a motion?
I think he's got to update the picture of John Bluebier in here. That really doesn't look like him anymore.
What page are we on?
I think
That's
it's
his ad.
on page 3.
I don't think it looked like him back in the day either.
Yeah, no, I think you should put a newer picture in there.
Yeah, he doesn't have nearly that much hair left.
No.
Talk to John about that one.
I'll make a motion for approval of spending $411 for the ad, and in that, I would assume that amount would come out of the special projects account,
I think that's usually where it comes
Yes.
from, yeah.
and I believe there's enough in there to handle the cost of that.
I'll second that.
It's been motion and a second to approve the $411 for the paper tops coming out of the Selectmen's account. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Approved, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you again for that. All right, moving on to our other business. Appreciate all you guys coming tonight. You know, obviously this is something that is very near and dear to you guys. I can tell you that the application has been put in yesterday for this solar farm. That's all I know about it. I just know that it was applied yesterday. So, you got the floor, sir.
So, Rob Martin, Davis, 124 Gilbert. I'm speaking on behalf of all of the abutters and folks within spitting distance to the old Newsman Farm, or the Stasiowski / up-and-coming new solar farm. I have 3 general points and some details behind it. I think it'll take me about 5 minutes. So first I'd like to tell you who we are. I've started that already. Go through some of the reasons why we need to get control of some of these projects. And then we've got some requests at the end. So, as I said, we're here as the residents of the abutting owners, property owners of the Newsman Farm, Stasiowski / whatever the outfit is that's putting the application here. We are trying to get a focus from the Selectboard and the Zoning Board. We were actually at the zoning meeting last Wednesday, hoping that they brought some of this forward to you all for this meeting, some of the details. So we think that we need to put a little bit more focus on all the great work that's been done by the planning board to date, but some of that's a little bit dated, as we can notice out to the east of here on what's happened on both sides of Route 2. So not what we expected, I'm pretty sure. And maybe it is for some, but it certainly isn't for a whole bunch of people I've talked to. As I said, we've been to the zoning board. Mr. Adrian Harris has a proposal in front of that board to increase the setbacks to 500 feet from the existing 75. That's in the application. We're not trying to eliminate this farm, as it's probably for the greater good, but we are trying to protect our own interests a little bit in the process. You know, as everybody knows, the reason we have zoning boards and laws is to control a little bit on what happens. Sprawl, solar farms, industrial factories, cannabis, you know, the whole thing. And we have a precedent here in Farmington already, just using the cannabis situation as an example, right? We've got a certain number, can be in a certain number of feet, you can't have them next door to each other, et cetera. So we're asking for something similar here with the solar. Okay, so that's why we're here. Why would we like to make these changes? We'd like to make these changes, number one, with respect for the landowner's rights, both ours and the lessee and the lessor. So I think we can come up with something that works for everybody here. There is going to be an environmental impact out there. There's wetlands out there. There's a lot of wildlife, a lot of great birds, a lot of deer. I think some of the people can speak to what they've seen out here, over the last 50 years for some of us. I think that, I've kind of already stated this, but I think our current plan out at Bussy York's area gave results that none of us were expecting. We don't want a repeat or an expansion of that. I don't think anybody wants that. So we're just trying to find a way to let the town and the people of the town have a little bit of control instead of a big corporation coming in and letting this thing pass through unadulterated. I guess the final point on the reasons, we're supposedly the biggest solar farm in the state of Maine. I think that's up for debate, but we are, if not the largest, one of the largest. We're going across unplowed ground here. We're dealing on zoning laws that started to be put in place maybe about 7 years ago, based on the Vermont state rules, not the Vermont local rules, largely. It's time to get control, reevaluate, and make sure we don't create a disaster out of this beautiful town that we live in. Our request. And I've got three because I'm not completely familiar with how the process works. It's been probably 30 or more years since I've been involved in local politics and government. But number one, if we could get a motion in passage tonight to pass Mr. Harris's application for a 500-foot setback, that's what we would love to have happen. If that's not possible, or if there's not a consensus or a quorum, we would at least like to stop the momentum. I don't know if we call that a moratorium or what we call that, but I know there's an application in. You just stated that, Mr. Chairman, earlier.
Yes. Yep.
It would be a shame to let that flow through at the November zoning meeting without really taking a look at what we've done here.
Well, honestly, we can't stop it.
We can
can't
if
do anything to that.
we change the zoning rules between now and then.
No, because it was put in yesterday. So that application was put in yesterday. We can't,
We're not trying to stop it.
I understand that.
We're trying to control how it's done.
Yes,
So I think we can do that.
we cannot. I talked to Steve Kaiser this morning. We cannot. We can control if that's what the people want. Future projects, but this one, I don't think we can.
Boy, I think the way I read it, there's an and clause in there, zoning board approval. They don't have to approve it.
No, they don't.
And we don't have to allow them to approve it.
But they had better go by the letter of the law why they're not approving it.
So we are asking for it to slow down for this project as well. The power sits in this room. It does not sit at 124 Gilbert Ave, or on Harris, or on Summit, or on Davis. The power sits in this room. This is up to you, the board. If you want to continue to screw it up, let's go under that premise. But it would be really great if you looked outside of Mr. Kaiser and the internals, and maybe we need an attorney. So I guess I would just say, let's not call it a done deal. Let's pursue it. We've got attorneys. If we need help getting attorneys, give me a call. I think we need to slow it down. We don't need this. We don't need another Bussy York. I think even Bussy might tell you he didn't get what he expected. I guess I would just leave this with you, that I think if we took a vote, if we had a town meeting vote, or a referendum, or however the process is going to work, I don't think you would find the majority of residents, whether or not they lived where we live or not, in favor of more of what we've got. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna just touch on a couple things and then we'll let the rest of us talk. But number one, you wanted us to act on Mr. Harris's request for the 500 feet. Okay, we can't change ordinances here. No, that's, please listen to me. We cannot. That is for town meetings only. That's how we change our ordinances.
Might I interject one more item?
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Harris was offered a 400-foot setback from his property last week.
That's between him and who? I didn't, who offered that? The solar company?
I haven't seen it in writing.
I don't know.
I think it was just a backroom discussion at the zoning board.
Okay, well, I can't attest to that because I wasn't there, so. Adrian?
Yeah, I just like to present that around. This is all the landowners right in a row there that is affecting. Just hand that around if you would.
Okay. And again, number two, you wanted to slow down, and I can appreciate that. But where the application's already been put in, it's my belief that we can't, not on this project. And I'm not, and honestly, I don't have enough facts in front of me. I don't want to debate it because I don't, we can find out down the road if this is what can be done, but I think you're going to find we can't. And as far as going outside of our code enforcement, we have a lot of trust in our code enforcement. If we didn't, we'd replace it. So, I guess that's about all I have to say. Anybody else?
Can I interject a few points?
Yeah, please do.
Alright, so I think what's about the only thing that, like, say that they hadn't put an application in that we could do is we could vote on a moratorium to stop it. But the application is in place. So I think something that we potentially could do, we could find out from the town attorney is, could we put a moratorium in, even though there's application that's come in, with the fact that Adrian did request the zoning board prior to the application. So we could at least just pursue that.
Okay, yeah.
To appease, not appease, but to try to say.
Everything else.
Right, so say that there's an option. But the way the zoning, correct me if I'm wrong, works is the zoning board looks at stuff, they propose doing it, then it comes to the selectmen, and then we vote, and then it goes to town meeting to get voted upon.
You're right.
So to change, it would be next March or April's town meeting is when that would get changed, unless we have a special town meeting between now and then. And
Right.
I mean, it's a possibility, I guess. There's always a possibility to have a special town meeting. So really the only thing that we hold in power potentially is saying is we could do a moratorium. And that's about the only thing that we could change. We, right now, we can't change the zoning ordinance, so Matt's right on that. But I think just for the fact of, to protect the town from liability issues, I think we have to find out, can we do that or can't we do it? So it's not like tonight we can say we can put a moratorium in, and then if you were the solar company, you'd be like, well, we got the application in before you guys decided on that, and that's not fair. So I understand your predicament, and I get that. I'm not trying to say there's nothing that can be done, but
Right.
I think it's not so simple, cut and dry. That's all.
If I might.
Go ahead.
Facts of the matter are this. The town has known this was coming for a long time. At least, I'm not saying you guys.
I'm gonna disagree with that.
I can
but-
tell you that last Wednesday, there were people in this room, part of the town, part of the boards, that played like they didn't know, but then they all of a sudden knew an awful lot about this. I don't think the application that came in yesterday is the first anybody knew this was coming. But I will tell you that there's about 50, or many people are here right now, that just found out about this last week. Listen, we live here. We moved as quickly as we could. We don't have any high-powered attorneys. We all gave up our evening Wednesday, and we're giving it up again now, and we'll continue to give it up until we can get this done. We moved very expeditiously too, and hey, they didn't want to vote last Wednesday either. They wanted to bring it to you. So they were able to delay. You guys must be able to delay, and by the way, I wonder, how long do we have to approve any sort of a building permit? Is it 30 days, or is it as soon as it comes in, or can we
I
wait?
actually don't know.
That's all we're asking. Can we wait till we get our ducks in a row? We don't have our ducks in a row right now in this town, on this matter.
Go ahead.
So precedents that we have been involved with already was the homeless shelter.
Right.
And the precedents that was set in that was after finding out from the attorney and water back and forth and everything else, we couldn't just stop it after the fact that the application was put on based off the rules that were,
Right.
they applied based off the existing rules. Now I'm not saying that they couldn't change. I think we should, I think for the citizens, we should do everything we can to find out. Not opposed to that.
No, I'm not either.
Because Adrian's application was first. If we're going first come, first served, his application
But
was
not to
first.
us, it wasn't. It was to the zoning board.
Right,
That's the
so,
process, right?
But they chose not to act on it, so it has to clear them before it can even see us. We can't skip them.
That's not what we were told.
I think we're into the minutia. I think there's something that we can do to slow this down, and that's all we're asking.
yeah, and so I think that's what we could do right now. I mean, I think we would be wrong in saying, voting right now to say, we're gonna do postpone this, because I don't believe we can, but I'm fine, and I think the town should find out to see if we can.
For the record, can you resolve to take those steps?
Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, we gave you our word that we will, and, you know,
We
we
can vote on
absolutely
it
will.
for sure.
Yeah, if necessary.
It's up to you. But as in regards to knowing, I don't think that's fair to accuse people of the town knowing, because I didn't know anything about this solar yard
I
until.
excluded you guys. There were people here last Wednesday that knew.
I'm just saying, I find a little offense to that, because I mean, there might have been somebody there, but
Sorry.
I didn't know about this till one of the zoning board members called a couple days after the meeting and just said, hey, this is what's happening. So,
Fair enough. We're offended that it's going on, so.
well, I understand.
Yes.
Good evening, I'm Judy Murphy, and I'm not here representing the planning board at all. I am a member, but I'm not here on their behalf. And in fairness, I will say that my husband and I came to the zoning board meeting last week out of curiosity, wanted to know what was going on. And personally, or as a planning board member, I did not know about that project until that night. And I just picked up my packet today that is going to come before the planning board at the next meeting. Now, if you folks, you know, are really serious, and I know you are, that would be another venue for you to attend that meeting. Now, as Matt said, the application's already in place. I haven't looked at it, I just picked the packet up today, and that will be voted at that planning board meeting. And it's not that simple. I mean, these people have spent a ton of money putting all their ducks in order, crossing their Ts, dotting their Is. It's substantial. And for all of us that are reviewing that, it's a lot of work. But we are not in a position, even as a planning board, to just like abruptly just refuse something. We have to have something to stick our teeth in to be able to say no if everything is in order. First of all, we have to approve the application as complete. We have to go through all of the environmental issues that are involved, whether it's erosion or vernal pools or whatever. So all of those things have to be checked, and it's not a done deal until it's a done deal. And that's all I will say. I'm not opposed to a moratorium, or certainly not opposed to checking with an attorney to see what's right and what isn't right. But I'm just saying it's not that simple. And I will also close with my statements that I also personally represent the other parties that are the property owners that do want to do something with their property according to the laws of the town. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Mike, do you have anything?
Well, I've gone from I had something to I don't know if I do have anything to back to having a little bit, I guess. But just so that you're clear what we can do and what we can't do, and I think that's been made pretty clear, but I'm confused that this project, the idea of this project must have been around for a period of time. It isn't like yesterday you first found out that they're going to do a solar farm there.
Last week. To me.
And to me,
Not long. I think others have known. I just found out.
So what you're saying that you
Just
had
about 2 weeks ago.
due
What I'm
to,
trying to say is that it's been in the works a lot longer than anybody knew of it. And bang, here it is.
Fair enough.
but that's how it, excuse me, but that's how it is with all the projects.
It is.
It starts in-house and it takes a long time. The process is lengthy, and then by the time you folks hear about it or we hear about it, you know, all the ducks are in order and it's coming to us really for a vote. That's all I can say. I'm not privy to stuff way ahead of time.
which makes me, I can't say this and have it come out good, is you're a little late in approaching this and attacking it or going against it or not wanting it. It is a little, it's a little late, especially if you had been to the planning board meeting.
They haven't had it yet.
Well, that's where I get confused. The planning board, the zoning board, has to receive a application. They get the application and they turn it over to the, she just mentioned it goes to the planning board.
No, it was.
I was thinking it came to us.
It does.
Comes to us
Yes.
for our approval.
Right.
Has it come to us?
No, because the zoning board decided to table it and kind of requested that we put a moratorium on it. So they can study it more. They passed it along. They didn't, they chose not to deal with this.
And it hasn't come to the planning
Right.
board yet.
It'll be in front of the planning board next month. I'm assuming that next month, is that right?
Yes.
November 8th.
Yeah, okay.
Well, then I'm really confused, because then when it comes to us, it's coming to us for action, which means we're either gonna approve it or not.
We're probably gonna either put it on a warrant for the town to approve or not.
It doesn't go through warrant unless we put it there.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna sit back and see how this shakes out. I don't mean to make fun of it, but it could be that it never, the zoning board is sitting on it. It could be come to us and we sit on it also, until we get things straightened out that we're happy with, everybody's happy.
Well, my personal thoughts is it goes to the zoning board, it comes to us, and we'll act on whatever the zoning board has asked us to act on. But they didn't take any action the other night.
No, and I understand what the lady said about, you can't just deny it for personal reasons. You
Right.
do have to have a valid reason.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I think I will become more aware of the public feelings of what's going on, and I will be better prepared to discuss it all the time.
Thank you, Mike. Josh?
Yeah, question for Adrian. So when did you find out about the project?
About 2 weeks ago.
I would say, so it was like a week or
Because I
so
went into
before the meeting. zoning
code
meeting.
office and asked them, I heard about it. And then they gave me this paper, and they bought it up against mine.
So that would have been about a week before. So it would
The only
have been,
thing-
the 20th is when the meeting was. So it would have been,
Yeah,
like a
that
week
was
before
a
that.
week ago.
Yeah, so 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
But you
We
see,
put 'em up.
here, where this white dot is,
Mm-hmm.
that's where all of these houses are right along here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really turned the other way.
Right. This is your road.
Yeah, you see, all of these houses over here, they're putting a road right up against them.
All right.
You all set, Josh?
Yeah, I just was curious, like how, like when he found out.
Yeah.
So, because
Go ahead.
Just a comment, and I guess a final request. So, a comment regarding our untimeliness of approaching the town. Hey, you know, we elect you guys to look out for the town and for us. We hope that the boards will do the same, and certainly for the statutory employees, we hope the same thing. I'm not saying that did or didn't happen, but when we gotta find out through the rumor mill that our lives are being impacted, I guess I would say it's a little untimely on the town's part as well. So that's my comment. My request is that if there's nothing that can be done, after we check with the attorneys and they say, no, we've got to approve it, I guess I would request, since you guys are the gatekeepers, that this be brought to a town vote. If that's how it has to happen, I think there's about 4,900 other people in here that have some thoughts, even if they don't live right next door to it.
And that's, I mean, if we can get some language in the ordinance, if this is, to change this or do whatever, the majority of the people want. I mean, that's what we're here for.
That's how it's
That's,
supposed to work, right?
Absolutely, I mean,
We might be
that's,
the only ones, and if we are, we lose.
but that's, I can say, I mean, I do believe in the system. That's why we have this system, and, we will certainly find out. So, just, Scott, you got anything?
Yeah, I must say, I just heard about this yesterday. It's the first I've heard, but what really disappoints me is to see so much farmland going into fields. I think the farmland is part of the fabric of our state. We need to preserve it. And I mean, they're gonna use up every inch they can get here. They're staying away from the streams, but it amazes me that they could have this bigger project and nobody know about it. You know, I really think we have to look into it, and I agree with them. If we have to go to put a warrant on and have it voted down by the town, then do it. But we don't have the authority to do anything here tonight. We can't stop it. But have to talk to the attorney and see what we can do for you. And they're gonna put that road right by your houses. You know, it's amazing something this big can just be here today.
I know with the-
If you look at the table of uses, I was going through some of this just because I guess I got a lot of spare time right now. I took the day off to do this, by the way. You know, you can't have a light industrial park out where we are. You can't have a heavy industrial park. There's a whole bunch of things you can't have that destroy the current use. But somehow over the last 5 years, we've said it's okay to have wind towers and a solar farm. To me, a solar farm is not a whole lot different than a light industrial park or a parking garage or a lot of the other things that we can't have out our way.
I mean, and Adrian can touch on this too, but I'm probably not gonna sit there and say what is a farm and what isn't a farm, because then you start getting into stuff. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know why all of a sudden Farmington became the solar panel capital of Maine, but for some reason we are. You know, and some of it, and I know, you know, other property rights are there, but, you know, when it comes down to it, is nobody wants to be told what they can do on their own land, when it comes right down to it. You know, be right, wrong, or indifferent, I mean, we all feel that way.
But there are restrictions already.
100%. No, you know, I'm not saying maybe there should be more. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be. I'm just saying at the end of the day, nobody really wants to be told, you know, I was in the logging business forever, you've been around it forever. It's just one of those things, and I'm really hoping that, you know, we can get this down the road, we can get it so everybody's happy with it. You know, because it's I guess I would rather see, if I had my druthers, because obviously the farmers aren't making it, they're turning to other things. I'd rather see this than the housing development, or something like that, coming down the road that we know is permanent. But that's neither here nor there as far as that goes. We just, you know, we will work together. We'll get this resolved one way or the other. But it's just gonna take some time, unfortunately.
You know, the other thing is, you know, there's a huge tax benefit coming to the town, you know, for the existing one and presumably for this one as well.
Yes.
But I guess I'd just say, you know, this is a 15 to 20 year tax benefit, which is, you know, it's no small change.
No.
But honestly, to use the housing development analogy, if you know, 30 houses went up in there, that's forever. This thing's temporary.
It is, which tells me that it will go back to farmland eventually. Because that is one of the things our ordinance does say, that it does have to be returned to its original use. But yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Do you want a motion on this?
It's the will of the board. I
All right,
don't.
I'll make a
Can I make
motion.
another comment, please?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, and then we'll have a comment.
I'll make a motion that we request legal opinion on this to see that if we can put a moratorium in place, even though an application has been applied for,
Okay.
with the facts going on, the fact that a citizen requested the zoning board to change the ordinance,
Okay.
and they just postponed it. So, because I think that adds a little bit difference to it, because he did request before they put their application in.
And it, you know, it may be enough, but yeah, no, we will definitely.
If we could find that out, that'd be, because and then I think the zoning board needs to bring this back up.
I agree, and I think
I
they
mean,
need to do their diligence,
so-
they need to do their job, is what they need to do.
Yeah.
So,
Just my opinion, but, and I'll second that motion.
and a quick comment.
Yep, go ahead.
All our zoning ordinances, they're not perfect.
Nope.
And I think I'm glad that people, citizens, want to change things, because it's good that people are involved.
I
And I can think of some other ones that have been brought up recently that have to be looked at from time to time and try to change things, but, so it's,
And
yeah.
I do know,
It's,
Christian has talked, as he's coming in and learning everything too, the ordinances are something that he is going over. And so we're gonna have more updates on this stuff as we move forward, So that is one good thing. We do have a new set of eyes looking at everything, so. Go ahead, Judith.
I just would like to say that as a result of this group being here tonight and pushing the envelope, to have you look at it closer, even if it didn't result in a change for this particular solar project, and I don't know whether it will or won't, they have gotten the ball rolling to change those zoning ordinances in a big way. And I think that regardless of how this ends up, and none of us know, you have moved forward to really make some big changes in the future. So that's a good thing.
It is. I mean, we
And our
can never
job
have enough
isn't
town
easy.
participation.
It
Truly
it
can't.
really isn't, so that's all I can say, but thanks again.
I have a question for this.
Go ahead, Mike.
This pretty pink line right here, that's a proposed
That
road.
yellow, red line is where I wanted the 500-foot setback. All of those properties that are subject,
Yep.
that's where there's each individual house.
Okay, so, all right, so my looking at this is
There's
that
about
would be,
9 and 10
that would be a
people there.
road and all the solar panels are on the Newsman Farm side. They're all on the
Yeah, I wanted on the other
Scout
side.
Haven side, if
Yeah.
you will. So any road, all right, so that represents the setback.
Yeah.
That red line, pink line represents 500 feet.
Just a minute, please. Excuse me.
This is it.
Yeah, I draw that to show you where the property line is, these are where all the houses, different subject people are living.
Correct. Well, I understood that, and I took this as being a road, and the panels would be over here.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
you want to,
Have a
there
500
may, there still may be a road, but you want 500 feet. This is, that's 500 feet.
Yeah,
Okay, I understand.
thank you.
This is the road they're gonna put in on that side.
this is Adrian's house,
Yeah.
that's at Harris
All
Place.
set.
You're all set, all right. Give these guys a minute.
Okay, that's the property. And that's the fence. Oh, okay, that's the 500.
Go ahead,
Oh, they
Adrian.
got plenty of room
I just want to, protect the town of Farmington and all the neighbors and everything, even myself, but we have a beautiful town. We don't need it, they'll devalue all of these property owners. And I'm very concerned with that because you look, see where other towns have had them and so forth, and they're very disgusted. They didn't get enough setbacks and more rules and regulations.
Yeah, that's 75.
I do know there was some talk when Bussy's whole project was coming out, and the devaluation part was talked about. It was never proven. They said that it just couldn't be proven, that was brought up once before as well.
He
So-
doesn't border too many residential areas.
No, they had a study on this, on it, they really did. Because that was a big deal as well for the people of Stanley Park, so. So, there's been a motion and a second to get a hold of the town attorney and to see just what we can do as far as a moratorium, if that's where we choose to go. That, in a nutshell, just to see what we can legally do and what we can't do in this subject, as far as the board goes, and so that's been the motion and the second. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Good. Go ahead, sir, I'm
Just a
sorry.
question, man. So do you guys have all the authority to do the moratorium? You guys?
We can put a moratorium in. I mean, we have the rules on what constitute a moratorium here in front of us, but yes, I do believe we
The
do.
reason I'm asking, kind of learning as we go. And last week, I guess, I'm a little surprised. We were encouraged to come here. We didn't realize it was going to be too late. Maybe it isn't. We hope it isn't. But
Right. Well,
that's why I asked that question.
unfortunately, that was the zoning board just passing the buck to us. And I firmly believe that, and it's not a popular response, but it's true. And I'm sorry for that.
All the more reason to pause.
Yeah, no, and I'm sorry for that, and I would certainly hope that they choose to pick this up and deal with it in a timely fashion.
Especially that was before the application was submitted, and we know how the world works. They get wind of something going on, keep that application, and they're not stupid, they know what they're doing. So.
Right, but I do believe that, they were probably gonna turn it in just because of, that book that got turned in today was that thick. So.
We were told that the zoning board, the lady, she said, we expect this company to probably come before us in November. That's what she said.
Well, they are, November 8th.
Yeah, so you're right, it's
Yep,
same time frame anyway. But.
yep.
Do you know if a call was made to the solar developers to tell them that there'd been a meeting
No.
on the results?
And there wouldn't have been that would not have been a call from the town.
Or any board?
I can't speak for the board members, but I know a town employee would not make that phone
I
call.
didn't even know that you folks were coming tonight, except that I picked up my manual today and they said, oh, by the way, that group of people that was there last week is gonna be there. I didn't even know.
I'm coming.
This guy's gonna be here a lot more, and I'm understanding what goes on here.
Yeah. So we will, I'm assuming we'll be getting a hold of the town attorney tomorrow. This will be, Christian will be back tomorrow as well. And we'll get this moving. Who would choose to be the spokesperson here? Who should we be getting a hold of when we start getting some of this information in to pass along to you guys? Okay. So, and I'll talk with you
We'll
directly.
talk right after you, I'll give you my contact info.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for
I
that.
think you have it on your cell phone.
I do actually. So, I think I got a business card or two somewhere.
You probably do.
So, but with that, and I do thank you for your time and effort into this. I really do. So, with that, any other business come before? Mike, do you have anything?
I do not.
Josh?
Not at this moment, I don't.
Perfect.
I guess I'm under control.
That's all. But, the only thing I've got is, I would like to pass along my sincere condolences to the Kenny Jones Jr. family. He was a logger that was killed in the woods yesterday. Worked with him for 4 or 5 years myself. Good man, great logger. The whole community will be missed because of him, and so with that, I'd like to send my condolences along. So, we only have one more thing to do. We were supposed to hold an executive session to discuss personnel matters related to salary and recruiting. I would like a motion to table that until the next meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, then a motion to second to table an executive session to discuss personnel matters. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you very much for that.
Motion we adjourn?
Second?
I won't even ask if there's any questions. All in favor? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, folks.